relations between India and Pakistan. In the last week, we saw a rise in tension, the greatest tension that we've seen along the line of control in Kashmir since the ceasefire was agreed nearly 10 years ago. And earlier this week, India's Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, said that given the events, it could no longer be business as usual with Pakistan. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, let me first of all thank you for finding the time. I believe in the recent days we have seen here in India a supercharged atmosphere. This is something that which we had really neither anticipated nor really prepared for. Unfortunately, the temperatures have risen, especially in the public domain, and it is extremely important to address the issues in accordance with our understandings at the highest levels. I believe that certain things have been projected in a manner and maybe in a manner that is not really warranted, especially when the two sides have established mechanisms to deal with issues relating to the ceasefire on the line of control. Let me first of all mention one or two basic points. We have always said, and this was reiterated on the 9th of January, again, that, and I think the Indian side agrees, that we should both endeavor to show respect for the ceasefire on the line of control. Two, that the existing military-to-military mechanisms, that they be used to ensure any aberrations that would take place or could possibly take place. And in the present situation, there has been a spate of allegations on ascribing responsibility for the initiation of the violations by both, especially by India. But I think it is very important to keep in mind the real need. And the real need is to bring back normalcy and respect for the ceasefire. And I'm sort of happy to note that the Director General Military Operations have been in contact nearly after every incident, and they have spoken yesterday, and our side has said that clear instructions have been given to the Pakistan Army to maintain the ceasefire, and that is being reciprocated. So I hope that at this level, at the military-to-military level, it will result in bringing back normalcy, peace and tranquility on the LOC. That's one. Number two, of course, there's the Foreign Office mechanisms. The two foreign ministries have been in contact, and the latest initiative by the Pakistani side has been by Foreign Minister Hina Kar, when she offered to herself discuss all concerns with her Indian counterpart, with a view to reinforcing respect for the ceasefire on the line of control. So that is what has been offered, and I believe that it is in our mutual interest, that is the mutual interest of Pakistan and India, that we use these mechanisms and the opportunities, and particularly the offer made by the Foreign Minister, to deal with the present state of affairs in the relationship.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. You mentioned that the situation has been portrayed, and I think you meant in India, in a manner that has not really been warranted. How do you square that with the anger that is felt in the Indian military, among the Indian public, over the treatment of the 2 Indian soldiers that were killed, one of whom was so mutilated that his head he was decapitated. It's no surprise, is it, that the Indian media, the Indian public are angry about what happened?
Absolutely. I think the sense of the depth of sentiment in India is at these horrific happenings is sort of shared by Pakistan and by all right-minded people all over the world. Such heinous acts cannot really be. They of course are condemnable, irrespective, wherever they happen and whenever they have happened. But to say that these were done, Pakistan, or the Pakistan army was responsible, is something that we cannot agree to. When the Indians raised this matter with us, we had said that we had made some preliminary checks and that we were prepared to do more, and that both the militaries needed to sort of get to the bottom of it. And that is the way we think that this matter should have been handled, instead of playing or stirring raw emotions and upping the rhetoric. And that is detrimental to normal business. And unfortunately, I must say that it has almost become fashionable. Pakistan bashing has become fashionable whenever there is an issue. I think it's time that we got out of that mode.
Right. Are you saying that the attacks on the Indian soldiers on the Indian side of the line of control were from people who were not belonging to the Pakistani army, that perhaps they were militants, perhaps belonging to Lashkar-e-Taiba?
You see, it is impossible for me to get into the forensics of a situation that had happened. But we are very clear that there was no crossing by the Pakistan army of the line of control on the 8th or at any other point in time. So I think that answers this question. But the normal thing would have been for both to focus on this particular incident, and in fact the sniping of and the casualties on our side. We have lost +3 soldiers in the recent days as a result of firing by the Indian Army, and one was a sniper's fire that led to the shahadat of one of our soldiers. So, one wrong or 2 wrongs, it doesn't really square up in any way. The important thing is to get back to dealing with these issues and more to the best of our ability through the understandings and the mechanisms that exist. And I think the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, when she says that she is prepared to discuss these matters with her Indian counterpart, has said it all. Pakistan definitely desires de-escalation and definitely feels that the only way forward is through dialogue.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. But if I could just insist a little bit, if it was not regular Pakistani soldiers who crossed and killed the Indian soldiers, then who does Pakistan think actually did it?
I cannot, and the Pakistan army, the Pakistan government cannot really speculate on this. This incident needs to be looked at by the Indian side, by the Indian military command, and to the extent that they are able to share with us, we have said that we are prepared to look at it. We did the preliminary checks, military headquarters did that. It was absolutely clear that at no point in time specifically on the 8th in particular, and generally speaking, did the Pakistani armed forces cross the line of control. So really it is, I am not in a position to speculate on this, and it will perhaps be counterproductive to say that it was a particular group or a particular individual. But what has appeared, according to the Indian media reports, that such incidents have taken place in the past, and that the Indian media has said that the Indian Army has beheaded soldiers. I'm just quoting Indian media here, and the reason I'm saying is that this is in public knowledge, and that I do not really want to sort of say more, because the idea is not to get into a mutual recrimination mode. It's too serious a matter. I think we need to get into the right mindset and address these and other issues in a manner that is acceptable and that is proper.
I understand that you don't want to get into the recrimination mode, as you put it, but on the other hand, only this week, India said that Pakistan has been planting landmines on the Indian side of the line of control. What's Pakistan's answer to that?
Well, precisely. I mean, to make allegations about the landmines, about the beheading, to depict Pakistan as barbaric, savage, inhumane, you know, I can expect certain quarters to say that. You know, there are people of that type who say these things anywhere in the world. But to see that coming from responsible quarters is somewhat of a puzzle for me, because I think serious issues relating to peace, issues relating to military matters warrant much more sobriety and maturity, and have to be handled with due care. If we and both Pakistan and India are important countries. Both have equal stakes, I believe, in the maintenance of peace. And therefore it's important that as whatever large countries, large armies with certain category of arsenals, that we show more responsibility and maturity.
So do you think that in any way the internal events that are happening in Pakistan, as you know, there is a certain amount of political turmoil in Pakistan at the moment, do you think that is in any way related to the events that we saw unfolding last week in Kashmir?
No, I don't think there is any such connection, even by any stretch of imagination. I cannot link the situation on the LOC with the political processes that are unfolding now in Pakistan or have been there for a while. On the Pakistani side, as you know, our society is undergoing a profound transformation. It has various manifestations, of course. We are now almost in the election year, and so that's another thing. But what amazes me is that this is not an election year in India, but the political rhetoric that we see on Pakistan today makes me somehow feel that maybe Pakistan is more of an election issue for certain parties here, even today.
But this isn't just certain parties in India. This is the military is angry. The media is reflecting that. The opposition party has been very vocal, and this week we saw the Prime Minister and the Congress Party, his Congress Party, voicing their anger over this. This is not confined to a small group or certain sections. This is right across India, from the military through the public up to the ruling classes. This is not Pakistan bashing. People are genuinely upset. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure why you should be puzzled by that. It is a genuine kind of national outrage.
As I said earlier, the point is that anybody would be outraged if on such an incident. We have suffered more in Pakistan over the recent years. The day this thing happened it was reported, we lost over 150 people in Quetta to suicide bombings. So it is not that we are indifferent or are not or insensitive, or we do not share the depth sentiments on any outrage anywhere in the world. So that's for sure. I think there should be no misunderstanding on that. But at the same time, to say that the source of all evil is Pakistan, no matter what happens, is something that we cannot really accept. And especially in the face of a series of very constructive steps that we have taken in pursuit of better relations towards normalization. And if we allow one incident or multiple incidents of this type or of any other type to vitiate the atmosphere so much that it becomes inconceivable to think of a peaceful coexistence between Pakistan and India, it is truly a tragedy. And that is what I mean. It's not the certain quarters in India. If it's everybody, then they've got to rethink that they cannot wish Pakistan away as we cannot wish India away, and that the only sensible course is peaceful coexistence. And when we make an offer to go all the way, to discuss all issues, open-ended agenda, including the incidents on the LOC, specifically with a view to ensuring that misunderstandings are removed. We have made several proposals, in fact, to enhance conventional confidence building by us between Pakistan and India. A meeting was held only very recently in December in Delhi on that. We would like to see progress made on further enhancing CBMs, conventional CBMs as well as nuclear CBMs between the two countries.
What kind of CBMs would Pakistan propose to avoid the kind of tension that we've seen over the last 10 days in Kashmir?
No, existing CBMs, include not only hotline communications between the headquarters, also flag meetings, and there are certain understandings regarding what is to be done and what's not to be done along the line of control. We have suggested that the military forces should disengage, and there should be a minimum distance where you place your heavy artillery or your mortar fire, etc. Unfortunately, these proposals have not been accepted so far, but remain under consideration. There are multiple things: notification of exercises, prior notification. There are some rules that were formulated in the 60s which exist. There have been some additions to those called the border ground rules, etc. There is more that we can do to ensure that as far as peace and security is concerned, each side has relative assurance and that nothing is misconstrued, misunderstood, or trigger into something that is not desirable. So that's one. I think it is important that both Pakistan and India, now more than ever before, pay more attention to the CBM process on peace and security issues between the two countries, both at the conventional and at the strategic levels.
Okay, and you mentioned that obviously what Pakistan wants to see now is de-escalation and normalization, a resumption of talks, dialogue to normalize relations. Will the trade talks, and I understand that the Pakistan's Commerce Minister is due to come to India. Is there going to be a resumption of the talks that were already scheduled, or are they now off the table?
I think what we are, of course, awaiting, and we hope we will have a constructive response. I have great admiration for the Indian leadership, for the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. I believe they have the ability and the wisdom to take steps to respond very maturely with a view to diffusing the present crisis situation. This can be done by showing greater restraint in terms of rhetoric. This can be done by taking up the offer that Pakistan has made for discussing these matters, by not prematurely calling off things like not enabling our artists who are already here to perform, or packing off our hockey team, or holding up on the senior citizens visa on arrival scheme and other such measures. So business as usual is always a two-way process. And I think an iron curtain should not be allowed to sort of descend, no matter how high the walls that we try to recreate, which we are endeavoring very hard to sort of demolish. It will not help. It will not help Pakistan. It will not help India. If India wants to be an important global player, a responsible country, especially on issues of peace and security, then I'm sure that they will demonstrate wisdom and the requisite confidence and the requisite responsibility. Pakistan, for itself, I can speak for Pakistan, and Pakistan is very conscious of its responsibility. As you know, we have been faced with the consequences of what has been happening for decades in our immediate neighborhood in Afghanistan. We have an active anti-counterterrorism campaign that has cost us dearly, but which is important for Pakistan to win. Our society is undergoing profound transformation. Our public opinion is as receptive or sensitive as it is over here. So I think it's important not to let the cycle sort of escalate into something which becomes even more ugly than it is today. Let's try to see if we can cool down and resume normal business.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.